Today's topic I'm really excited about. We're actually going to take the next step and dig a little bit deeper about this idea of keeping promises to yourself and aligning your life, your goals, your purpose with who you are, not just what you do. Keeping promises, the bridge to getting there is you understanding who you are and who you want to become and starting to keep the promises that you tell yourself every day. Just some practical elements of that. And I'm going to use examples from my own life and examples that I've learned from other people too. So why does this matter? You can't go to your next level without keeping the promises that you make to yourself. You have to start casting more votes in favor of who you want to become rather than the alternative. What's the alternative? The person that you want to leave behind, the level that you're trying to level up from. Self-awareness, change, then you have to start defining who you want to be and aligning your life. And the bridge is those keeping of the promises. Let's talk about how to actually practically keep promises to yourself. I ain't no 150 pounds right now, right? But more and more, I'm aligning my choices, my behaviors and things with that person that I want to become. And if I went out and ran a marathon today, I would die of a freaking heart attack. But I can go out and take a 20-minute walk and maybe incorporate 1 minute of jogging every 3 minutes. That is how you start to define what promises you need to start keeping, define the behaviors that you need to align with who you want to become, and start to keep those 1% at a time. I think that there are some people in the world, the Grant Cardones and the people like that, who can probably do 180 turn on a dime. And I'd like to point out that most of us have a lot more to overcome in terms of just like we might have families, we might have health issues. We're not going to be single and young all the time where those changes are easy. So you have to look at what your life is and assess those things. And if you literally build 1% at a time, you show up and you keep those promises to yourself, at the end of a year, you're going to be so much further along than if you had done like a whole 180 and try to totally upend your life with your latest goal, your latest change or whatever. 1% at a time is lasting and it becomes significant. Before you can actually be like, okay, what am I going to be doing 1% at a time? You have to define who you want to become. And a lot of times what I've found lately is I really want to start changing my health. And I have started to seek out people that I can listen to, watch, and be around that are doing the things that I want to do. So I may not know how to get there. And I'm going to do what they do so that I can become who they are or like them. But most importantly, too, you need to know why you want these things. I know why I want to become a better mom, or I know why I want to change my health. So you have to define who, you have to decide what you're going to do about it, and then you have to know why, because the road there is going to be hard, guys. Have you ever noticed that anything in life worth doing is hard? Like real estate's freaking hard. It's worth it, I promise, okay? Stick with me. But you have to really define why do I want to be a great mom? And keep asking yourself why until you've gotten to that like really deep reason. Why do I want to be good at real estate? And you might find some surprising answers along the way. Your why is like your North Star for your life because you're going to grow weary and that's the fuel. It's going to help you get across this bridge that we call keeping promises to yourself. So define who you want to become. Who, what, why. Start to define and get to know yourself. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. We all say all the time that we want success. We all say all the time that we want to be a top producer. We all say that we value our families. Are they really? Because you're constantly choosing your business over your family. Reality check. I had to go through that process. You can say all day what you want to become, but if you are not showing up and making good on the promises that you tell to yourself 1% at a time, you're not going to get where you want to go. And this is meant to encourage you because we have to start keeping promises to ourselves. Did you promise yourself that you're going to start making phone call and prospecting and you still haven't done it? Have you promised yourself you're going to get your KV core up and you still haven't done it? Or your CRM? Start acting like the person that you tell yourself you are. And that is the bridge. I love James Clear. And a lot of these ideas come from him and like 3 or 4 other really big influences in my leadership style. Let me just read this. True behavior change is identity change. I would also add that lasting change is identity change. When your behavior and your identity are fully aligned, you are no longer pursuing change. You are simply acting like the type of person you already believe yourself to be. And like that is packed with so much greatness. Let's go back to, what are your goals? What are you saying to yourself? Who are you? What are your pillars? Everything needs to start to align, and your life needs to be built off of those things. And you need to show up a little bit better every day and cast more votes in favor of the person that you want to become. That who, everything points back to that. We can do this. We can make these changes. First and foremost, you need to define the pillars of your life. And this is very critical. I have a lender who gave me this sign that says faith, familia, and freedom. So faith, family, freedom. I used to tell people that was what I was all about. And that was a pillar of my life. But guys, when my business first hit 500,000 in production and I was working 80 to 90 hours a week, I had no freedom. Maybe monetary freedom, but I had no freedom, and I was not spending time with my family, and I wasn't even spending time like in the Word. My whole life was my business, but I had to reassess, am I honestly living according to who I say I am? Who you are when you're alone is who you really are. And the first time somebody said that to me, I was like, wow, that's so true. Like when no one is looking, am I honoring myself, others around me? Am I living according to these pillars that I say in public that I live by? And I had to get really honest with myself, but you cannot go to that next level again until you define what you want that next level to be and acknowledge where you're at and start again to have this identity shift. Are you honestly living according to them? And some of this for you might get real ugly in public, on social media. I act like I have it all together and I just don't. And maybe your greatest strength is actually in the moments where you're the most imperfect or broken, and get really honest with yourself. And I hope to encourage you today to realign and reassess and get truthful about that, who you want to become, and then start to cast more votes in favor of that identity. You're going to start to see your life change. So one really practical thing of this is to build an environment that is built on the pillars that you defined as who you want to become, and cut out the things that don't align. So I'm going to strike a nerve with some people right now. Do you want to be an awesome dad and you have daughters, but you just come home at the end of the day and kerplunk on the couch and maybe watch TV that is disrespectful to women? Talking to moms too. Are you a mom who wants to be more present for your kids, but you're on your phone all the time? You've got to start cutting things out that do not serve this person that you want to become. And I'm preaching today to myself as well. Your environment can come down to little things like, if your kid has a jar of candy or whatever you let them have access to, and you're trying to eat healthy, get it out of sight. You have to create an environment for yourself. You don't have to be the most disciplined person. What you say to yourself, your environment, what do you see? What are you hearing? What are you listening to? What are you watching? We have to be cognizant and aware of these things. Did you know that the patterns that you see right now in your life are actually the votes that you're making toward your identity? What are you saying to yourself? Write down those affirmations. And here's a little tip. Your pillars that you define for who you are and what your life is built on and what you stand for, should those things, your affirmations, the promises that you intend on keeping, should align with those pillars. Your goals should align with those pillars. Your self-talk should align with your pillars. Your friends should align with your pillars. Your environment, everything should align with those things if you really want to immerse yourself in what it's going to take to get where you want to go as a person. So some of the things that I'm personally taking steps for is I am one of those people. I'm motivated by essentially listening to other people who have come through either brokenness or pain or confusion or being lost or self-doubt, and they have gotten where I want to go. I have now started to turn all this time that I have, which is really nothing but drives, cleaning, into listening to things about health, understanding cravings, whatever the obstacles are that are stopping you from reaching who you want to become. Start to listen, watch, and be around people who align with the pillars of who you want to become, and you'll really start to see things change. And I just want to encourage you all to keep going today and really sit down and do this work on yourself. Literally, do not let your business or your life drag you around. The time, the effort, the digging through your own life that it takes to get to this next level, to become self-aware, to start keeping promises to yourself, to define who it is you want to be, is so worth the work. Without it, there's risk, honestly, of you building a business and a life and putting all this effort in that actually doesn't align with who you are. That's what happened to me, part of my journey. I realized 2 or 3 years ago that I actually care more about being a mom than I do just a business person. And that for me was like, wow, a self-revelation. Like, I want to spend my time with this little person more than pretty much I want anything else in my life. And I had to realign my life and my goals with that. So I encourage you today to take a look at this. I'm so grateful for you guys. Being with you has challenged me to get to my next level. Have an amazing week. Talk to you soon. Bye.